Hi there, this is Jim the Keys, bartender, speaking entirely too loud, I think, into his microphone. I'm here at the Kelly Kontiki Resort and swim up pool bar.
There we go.
You could swim up to the pool bar, but
you could swim up.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of fish in there right now.
Won't get a drink, yeah. I'm here with Jenna.
Hello.
Tyler has this thing, and Papa Joe's back.
Papa Joe.
I am back.
Hi, back.
Being sent to the outer regions.
It's nice to have you back.
Yep.
Yes, I was feeling my outer regions.
Where were you? Where were you?
I was in two places. Pittsburgh in the winter, so much fun.
Yep.
And then in the cultural mecca of Dothan, Alabama.
What?
Dothan, Alabama.
Oh, I heard of Dothan. Is there a nuclear power plant there, I guess?
No, there's places that vend to nuclear power plant.
Okay.
I don't know if they know what nuclear means.
How do they say it?
Nuclear.
Oh, nuclear.
But it was funny when you kept saying, I'm going to Duluth. I'm going to Duluth. I'm like, that's in Minnesota.
I'd have rather gone there.
We start that tonight.
However, I will say this about Dothan.
No, you never know with this.
They have amazing shrimp and grits.
Oh.
Really?
Oh, my God.
You were in my cousin Vinny territory.
Yeah, clearly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
With two Utes.
The two Utes?
On the way to the place we worked, we literally passed two old plantations.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Well, we've had an uneventful couple weeks without you, but I mean, not that they weren't fun. But I just recently noticed, and I thought I saw it in passing reference on Saturday Night Live, that there was multiple references. Now I've seen it. They fuck you, Saturday Night Live. And I love that show. But one episode they did a father and son's podcast kit. And they were it was funny. It was making fun of podcasting and stuff.
Oh.
And then the other week it was Adam Driver. They're in hell. It's who's it? Who's the guy that was defending Trump? The Alan Dershowitz. John Lovitz comes back, and this isn't about anything to do with the Trump thing. They end up going to hell, and Alan Dershowitz is called down to hell because the devil's a big fan of Alan Dershowitz, right? And she mentions, and it's Kate McKinnon.
Oh, God, that lady.
And she mentioned podcast. And she goes, yeah, we invented that too. I go, fuck you once again. Like, talk about an old genre. Their fucking TV, live TV that came around almost 50 years ago. Well, 40,
Has it really been that
46
long?
years ago.
It's been a while.
Right. Yeah. It was maybe 45 years ago they started. To make fun of a new genre. Fuck you. It's like making fun of radio. This is it. I mean, I guess because everyone's doing it.
No, they're 50 years. 1971.
They didn't. I don't think they started in 71, did they?
Yeah.
They did 50 years?
I think they did.
I'm going to look it up.
I think it's 50 years.
Okay, I was thinking 75, but that's good. Either way, either 74 or 75. So, but either way, to make fun of this, and this their own thing, it's not like anything's taking away. I guess there's a lot of stupid shit out there, but considering everyone has a podcast now, but everyone has a fucking TV show. When they started out, there were 3 networks.
Jim, if you can make a brand new TV show that's debuting, either has just or is about building Lego houses.
That's what they're doing.
And smashing them.
Excuse me.
Yeah, and blowing them up.
Podcasts are an intellectual pursuit. Really, we have a competition on Lego bricks.
I know they got everything. Well, remember when they started turning out the shows, the Swan. We talked about the Swan the week before, and all this stuff. And now but then again, it had to be when tape recorders first came out. Everyone started making their own records and singing into them, right?
Yeah, why not?
October 11th, 1975 was when it first aired.
75, yeah, 45 years.
45 years. I thought it was 50.
I'm like the pop
Close
culture.
enough.
Yeah.
I'm so old I don't care anymore.
I'm really good with that dates.
I was trying to figure out who the first people were on there.
It was Bill Murray, John, the guy that died.
Chevy Chase.
John Belushi, Gilda Radner, Lorraine Newman, Garrett Morris, Dan Aykroyd, Miss Lorraine Newman. Did I say Lorraine Newman twice?
Jane Curtin.
Jane Curtin.
Did you say Garrett Morris?
Garrett Morris.
I'm not sure who that is.
Yeah, Garrett Morris. It's the black dude on it. But, that's just the writers. They got a thing going on. It's not necessarily the same thing. But, fuck, some of their people have their podcast, I think. Maybe. Not yet.
Yeah, they were just poking fun.
Oh, Amy Poehler. Amy Poehler's in.
Amy Poehler was on there.
Yeah, but it's multiple. It's happening multiple times now. Making fun. Fuck, they made fun of cable access with Wayne's World. When
Sweaty Balls, they made fun of cable access.
No, Sweaty Balls was public radio.
Was it?
Yeah, that was public Sweaty
was
Balls.
Was it an NPR kind of thing?
Yeah, NPR. The NPR ladies. It was the NPR ladies, and Sweaty Balls was a bit inside of NPR. It was, the boring thing. And come on, Saturday Night Live, there was a bunch of seasons that were shitty.
There's a bunch of people that are banned from Saturday Night Live.
Oh, Adrian Brody. Adrian Brody's banned because he did a shitty knockoff of a Jamaican accent. Just did it, winged it, and Michael, what's his name?
Right now.
Cho.
No, that's Shay.
Shay?
No, the one that runs the show.
The producer.
Oh.
Lorne Michaels.
So
Michael Lorne.
Adrian Brody, they said that he was borderline racist when he donned a dreadlock wig and used a Jamaican accent to introduce a reggae singer.
Yeah, that was his idea.
He was banned for life.
And the guy just came off of doing The Pianist and all. He did some major movies.
First of all, does that make him a racist?
Sinead O'Connor's also banned.
Well, Sinead O'Connor did the thing with the Pope.
Well, I think what happened is that they went way off the rails. Not necessarily racist. It's just like if they went off the mark and they did their own thing and it fell flat against the urgings of the writers and stuff like that, then they realized they had
they have no way to control
that person.
This is actually
I just saw
shocking.
Adam Driver. He was actually pretty good. And then every so often they have us. Last week they had who'd they have? J.J. Watts. Every so often they got these sports stars that come in there.
To be funny and they don't quite.
They're
pull
not funny. They fall flat. They're not much into acting. Now the guys that are funny, Peyton Manning there's funny guys, sports stars. They can be funny. They're kind of actors. O.J. Simpson was on there. I mean, before he nearly cut off the head of two people, he actually was acting at the. He had some training because he was in a couple movies and TV shows.
Yeah, he's been acting for a while.
Yeah. So, but they bring these guys on, and just because they try to fit them in and say, "Oh, all you have to do is read this." And they had Adam Driver, and Adam Driver's so fucking intense. The way he's always like he's ready to freak out. That him reading the cards, the cue cards, actually makes sense. Just like Christopher Walken. Christopher Walken, when he was on it, every time Christopher Walken was on Saturday Night Live for years, it seemed as if it was his first time acting.
Well, Christopher Walken, I have a feeling he probably would ad-lib a lot of it.
I don't know. His best one was
the Continental.
The Colonel Angus.
I don't remember that.
Colonel Angus? It was set on the southern.
Oh, yes,
Colonel Angus. Yeah. He goes, Colonel Angus. All the ladies love when he come to visit. And then when he started coming around, when the Yankees were around, Colonel Angus would start slipping in the back door. Colonel Angus, get it?
Yeah.
Slipping in the back door.
Yeah.
And then one older Southern lady goes, I didn't much favor Colonel Angus. A little too saucy for me. Pretty good bit. But once again, I just get fuck you Saturday Night Live for that. I took offense to it and I let it go. You know what? I'm allowed to say that now. Other people that just write their little blog post on it, stuff like that. I get to say it on the show, my widely listened to show, where tens of people listen to it. Eventually, who knows? And that rolls into the last thing I did. I did a show with two psychologists, counselors, Gabby and Joel, and I won't. It's funny. I said to Gabby, do you want to use, you don't go by the same name, because, I figured she was a psychologist, so I knew she didn't have her husband's last name. She goes, no, I don't have. Oh, I don't want to use. Oh, so I'll just say Joel and Gabby, who live a couple months in Spain, in Madrid, and then they go to Key Largo, and then are from Baltimore. So that all your friends know who you are but like they're listening to it. You can say your name. No one's going to know. And I said, you're not even practicing anymore. But they sat and I tried to get them to, they're going to write up a report, I think, where they do it.
Did they psychoanalyze you while you were talking to them?
I was saying a lot of shit, and I hope they were listening to it, because I wrote a list of things to go through, and I think you guys probably would be the ones to talk about this stuff. They didn't bite on any of this because they wanted to be nice. Do you ever hear, inner monologue, internal dialogue?
Sure.
They didn't really take much. I said, some people don't have, it's, a researcher found that some people don't have an internal dialogue or monologue. Do you know when let's say you walk into a situation you're not familiar with, or you are familiar with, and you have a person that you deal with all the time. Mm-hmm. And you think, oh, fuck, this guy. That's in your head. You actually hear, oh, this fucking guy, I'm going to talk to him. He's going to tell me some stupid story now. And I got to sit and listen. And how long do I have to wait before I have to go? What I'm going to have to say. And then you're waiting in line at the getting coffee. And this guy, oh, I know the fucking guy's going to buy a bunch of lottery tickets in my head and stuff like that. Oh, like this is going to you're going to win and you're going to change your whole life. And there's a whole thing going on in my head. That's mine. And it's kind of malicious. Your inner dialogue, it's not always, wow, what a nice person. Then they look nice and they're...
But people without that would probably just blurt shit out.
They're not thinking anything. They don't have the inner dialogue, it's either, some people think it's a voice. It's not an other voice, it's your voice. It's your internalized ego.
Yeah, Damon and I have one of those for one of your customers that comes into the restaurant.
Well, tell me what you're thinking. Don't tell me who it is.
Oh, every time he comes in, it's like, oh, shoot, hopefully he doesn't notice us. We don't want to sit and talk with him because he sits there and talks about the same shit every time.
Is it Bud Light?
About when he was practicing his psychiatry.
What?
I think that's what he was.
What?
He was a psychiatrist. You have a picture of him up on the wall holding a lobster.
Really? He talks to you guys?
Well, we used to deal with him as a customer. And every time,
oh, really? Oh.
Every time we'd go over there, he'd sit and shoot the shit about when he was practicing and all this stuff. And
he talks about that all the time?
Yeah. It's like, God.
He never talks to
hopefully he doesn't recognize us because he always wants to come over and talk to us.
Doesn't he do it for the prisons?
I believe he used to. There's no way he is still practicing.
Why?
He's coming up on 80 years old or something like that.
Doctors, you'd be surprised. Doctors, right?
I don't think he is.
Doctors practice late.
Some practice well
until the 90s.
Yeah.
I actually think.
But yeah, so our internal dialogue is, oh shit, hopefully he doesn't see us.
Okay. Yeah, the whole thing. And I'm sure Jenna has tons of that shit. Oh my God! Imagine this shit going through your head.
I see the guy roll in on the
one of your coworkers
thing, and I go, oh yeah, I hope he doesn't want to shake my hand today because I know he pees his pants all the time and he can't tell because he's unfortunately slightly handicapped, and he puts his hand on his pants to feel if it's wet to see whether or not he peed. And I really don't want him to try to shake my hand today.
You should have one of those sanitizer pumps on your.
I have one in my office.
Oh yeah, and what?
They're all over the store. And that's mainly why.
That's mainly
Fuck
why.
that. You ought to have a box of gloves.
And gloves and all that stuff. That'd be funny. Like, it's just, hold on a second. Here you go. And you just put, I mind putting on the glove and shaking it. So I talked about, but the people that don't have that, meaning
No filters.
no, it's not the filter. It's not the, you can have an internal monologue and it just goes right out. The suggesting is that they're not thinking anything. They're not predicting anything. They're
It's like,
just the
so it's like
absence.
Peter Sellers in the movie Being There.
yes,
You're just there.
they're just. Well, I'm not saying they're idiots. I'm just.
Well, I mean,
He's an idiot. He's an imbecile. He's an imbecile.
correct.
In that he's an imbecile. I'm trying to say that's a scientific term, right?
Well, it's definitely an old term for someone who's mentally dysfunctional.
Not.
What you're saying though is that there's
He's not disabled.
someone who
He
lacks.
just never interacted with people. He just never
He's
developed.
slow.
There's someone who lacks
I
an
don't
inner
think so.
monologue, and then there's someone who cannot control their inner monologue, right?
Is that-
So there's
is that-
you're
well,
saying that there's two
well,
different things. Like
Well, that's a third one, the controlling their inner monologue. Saying this guy was doing a study, and he said 85% of people have an inner, and only 15% don't have it. They're just not presupposing, not playing a tape forward for things that are going on. It's the things that are happening in front of them are happening.
I just
And
can't.
they're concentrating, and it may not. You can't even.
I can't imagine
it's hard-
anybody
That's
who
what
wouldn't.
that's what spooked the guy up. It's that they're not the guy. I forgot his name was. You're in Being There. His name was Charlie, not Charlie. Chauncey Gardner.
Good for you, man.
Holy
That's awesome.
crap!
I wonder,
I know
I
that
wonder if it was your inner monologue telling you that.
Well, I remember the name. It was kind of old, kind of northeastern. Chauncey sounded like Chauncey Gardner, and he was considered brilliant but that wasn't the inner monologue. I think he had an inner monologue. It was more like a cow and a chicken dancing together in black and white cartoon thing. That was his inner monologue. But I'm delving that further. They didn't go. I thought they'd give me a little insight into it. They didn't give me any. And then I started. I started thinking, proposing things that I might have. And I was writing these down prior to the show. And delusions of grandeur. And I read up about delusions of grandeur. And that's when you think you're the best, you're the greatest, and this stuff. And I go, fuck, I never thought that. I don't think at any time. There was one time I thought I was the best and greatest in anything. It's not an inferiority complex because I have appreciation of the immensity of the human experience.
Those are two very
that there's
different
someone
things.
smarter, there's someone quicker, there's someone and tons of people and stuff like that. What?
Well, I mean, inferiority complex is just
No. What I mean is because I
than-
refuse to believe that I ever had that grandiosity thing where grandiose means like I am the fucking best. I mean, that may be really good when you're performing at a high level, when you're doing something like skating or doing something. You better believe that you're great.
Yeah, like
At that time.
before a big game, if you're going to psych yourself up.
You're right. Yeah, but if you're
It's all
about to
part
go
of that
out on a
process.
date with someone and you think, oh, I'm fucking awesome lover and stuff like that, and you don't have any moves.
No,
or
that's a
anything.
bad mental condition to have.
Yeah, but I mentioned this to him. I said, I might have delusions of elevated mediocrity. And they laughed at it, and I go like this. I go, I didn't mean for it to be, I meant it to be exact. Be an exact statement. Meaning, and she's talking about how funny that was. Shit. I always remember every time the funniest shit I ever said was meant to be an exact thing. I was trying to create meaning out of it. And I said, how can that not be a thing? How can that be a disorder? If you go and say, well, there's people out there. There was a famous story about some sisters in the 1930s and 20s, maybe even earlier than that, where they were singing around the country and their father was very wealthy and he bankrolled them and they were horrible. They were horrible, and they'd go to all these fairs and stuff like that, and their critics used to write stories about how horrible they were, and people used to go to see them because they were horrible. But they believed they were great, and they believed everyone was jealous about them. And they did this all the time. I think Truman's daughter was that way, too. Harry Truman's daughter. Everyone was kind of building up her ego, and she wasn't very good at what she did. I think a lot of things happen to some children, you know.
They have delusions of elevated mediocrity.
Elevated mediocrity, yeah. You're like, oh, I have my father's magic, Frank Sinatra Jr. Right?
Nancy Sinatra.
Nancy Sinatra. She was on
One-hit wonder.
Boots Are Made for Walking.
That's right.
That's it. She was on Sopranos, and that made a big deal to Nancy Sinatra. So that was it. That's what you're going to do, and she's singing a song to a guy that got promoted to to be the capo. Fucking, I was a big walk. I mean, I would dress up like Nancy Sinatra probably to sing that song for him too. But okay, that was one thing, and then I went into manic depression, and that's the thing that I thought I nailed a couple of the categories. Manic depression. You know about this? Of course. Signs of it?
Well, the manic side is...
I'm not quiz. I don't mean to quiz. There's 10 things they try to list. There's substance abuse, erratic behavior, suicidal tendencies, shopping spree.
Yeah.
That's
part of the manic side.
Guilt, negative behavior, pressured speech. Where people, you know, depression, mania, which in the name, manic depression. So you got inflated ego.
Well, half the time.
Half the time. Erratic thought pattern. Can't stay on a subject. Now, I ranked this for me from 1 to 10. Substance abuse, 9 because of the alcohol thing, right? Erratic behavior, I put an 8. Probably a 7 or 6 for me. Suicidal, I have to put in the low 2, you know? I mean, I would never even hurt myself. I can't ever put 1 because 1's, you never thought, so suicide's has never been in my purview. Shopping sprees, put it at 5. Because nothing like going on Amazon with tech stuff and stuff. I think you love that stuff.
I was just on Amazon.
See? Okay. Now, guilt.
For work,
a lot of guilt. I'm not saying it is one thing everyone does. Shopping spree could be every part of any.
Listen, Amazon and Publix delivery are our 2 weaknesses nowadays.
Pressured speech. I put an 8, but I don't think I ever speak real fast. Do I speak fast?
No.
Depression, when I was drinking, I did, but that's more 4. Mania, 7 or 8. I used to do, especially drinking, man. Inflated ego, 6, 7.
Yeah, I don't
7.
know.
I can't. Well, you know what? You got to be honest with these things. Erratic thought patterns, 9.
Just a little bit of elevated mediocrity.
Oh wait, no, elevated. Okay. Okay, entitlement complex. Now that everyone may have an entitlement complex. You know what an entitlement complex is? When you got someone, you're waiting in line, and someone's slow, and you need to go, and you're like, oh, you fucking, you know, anytime you're
inconvenienced.
No. Anytime that your circumstances, you view them as simply more important than anyone else's circumstances, including that person in front of you.
Holy shit! There's no way we're at 23 minutes.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, we're gonna have to pause for a sec. Holy shit!
Squirrel.
What happened?
We'll bring that as an braid.
How the fuck did that happen?
Oh, we're talking.
Whether you're one of our regular visitors to the Florida Keys or you can't wait to visit for the first time, you'll want to stay up to date on everything that's going on in the Florida Keys. To learn all the secrets, tips, and the stuff we don't talk about to anyone but each other, visit 43keys.com. Sign up for our newsletter and never miss any of the exciting things we have planned for you. That's 43 Keys, the number 4, the number 3, keys.com.
We're back. Hello. We're back. Holy shit.
Squirrel.
Well, now 23 minutes. I mean, I thought we were like 6 minutes into it.
No.
Elevated.
Maybe it's part of your entitlement complex.
That's my, what's that?
No,
the delusions of elevated
mediocrity.
mediocrity. Motherfucker. Did I go on that long about Saturday Night Live?
A little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
We did. We all did.
I swear to God, that's coffee.
Yeah. It's all right. Maybe it's the
Was
caffeine.
that coffee?
Was it coffee?
Coffee.
No, we could just call this coffee talk.
Is it regular coffee or Cuban coffee?
Welcome to Coffee Talk.
Welcome to coffee
people,
talk.
how about people you know then? Intermittent explosive disorder.
Oh.
I had that earlier today. It took shit tons of toilet paper.
Well, okay, well, there's another one where it comes out. What were you eating?
I had a
burrito? A breakfast burrito?
No. It was worse than that.
Taco Bell.
I had a vegetable smoothie with yogurt.
Oh, goodness. Well, I'm sure you're nice and clean.
It's all shiny inside.
Right.
At its finest.
It was a cleansing.
Squeaky.
Squeaky clean.
I had an anal cleanse.
I'm going to purposely shut up because I'm still fucking amazed that we went on for 23 minutes.
See, you get obsessive about certain topics.
Yep.
It's part of your manic depressive.
What the fuck?
Part of your
I
mania.
know. It's mania.
I swear to
It's
God.
mania.
You're
I was like,
maniac.
Maniac.
well, the superiority-inferiority complex. We had this discussion before. Inferiority complex is
Well, that would be like...
emblematic of a superiority complex, and superiority complex mask a inferiority complex. Meaning that you have to build yourself up, and with superior you have to build yourself up to hide your supposedly blatant shortcomings.
Insecurities. I would. You know what makes me think of one-uppers. One-uppers,
yeah,
right?
God, I hate
you know
that.
how many times you meet a one-upper, they ask you a question and you're halfway through the answer, and then you can't even get halfway through your answer, and then whatever you've done, they've done better than you, and it's been way more successful, and it's much more important.
Then you realize that they only asked the question.
We had a coworker
just to one up
Right.
you.
They only ask you the question just so that they can try to give you a response, and then they lie.
Well,
Then they
most of
make
them-
shit
oh
up to
my
one
God.
up you.
Christine Week on Saturday Night Live. Remember that when she was playing with her hair, and she comes up, and then we're just talking about something's happening, and she one upped everyone. It was funny in the end. She actually did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get that. I get that all the time. Like, I get the one-uppers all the time because I'm like, a female, first of all. So, the guys are trying to dominate. I'm so much better at that. For example, so many times. Oh, you're so lucky that your husband is so handy. He rebuilt that whole house himself. Yep, sure did. Really? You don't even get any acknowledgement for any of the stuff that you do or that you taught him. But nothing. That's all I ever get. And then it's one up. Well, I did this. I built my own shed too.
Wait, is that one up, or they didn't give you?
It's both.
That was the set. That's
they'll
the
ask me a
segue
question.
into the questions that they're going to one up you on.
Right. So then it's like,
constantly.
your husband did a great job with the house. I'm like, oh, okay.
Here it comes.
Thanks. That's great. Let me hear what you did, because that's what's next. I rebuilt my entire house too. I did this. I did that. It's constant.
I thought you were saying
Within my industry, it's really common because they'll be like, most of the people that are in my industry are enthusiasts.
Yeah,
right?
I can't imagine there being an industry where that isn't the case. I hesitate because there's a website. And I'm one-upping you.
Oh,
I'm one-upping you.
Right.
Well, I'm not one-upping you.
me.
There's a guy called Matt Spanish. He's on Fraternal Order of Bartenders.
Yeah, we talked
You heard
about
that guy?
him before.
Oh, it's fucking great. So whenever he goes, hey, someone says, I worked last night, I made $750, and I made, my
How'd you
total
do
bank was
But he started out, how'd
5,000.
you do last night? I made $750. Really? I made 17,000.
Yeah, 17.
I mean,
Something
come
like
on.
this.
That's just what
imagine a
happens.
nurse, almost any.
No.
Fuck, there's.
Mm-hmm.
What could you not, serial killers.
Yeah.
The ultimate one-uppers. Aren't they?
I would think.
Fucking, you killed 12? I killed 37.
Yeah, and I only
If the Manson
admitted.
family did it this way, I did it that way.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah, every time there's like,
Yeah,
they
yeah,
try
but
to,
how
they're
many
so
did you
fucking,
eat?
yeah. Yeah. Fucking serial killers. Yeah.
My industry, though, it's constant. It's absolutely constant because they'll be like, well, usually the people in this industry are enthusiasts. I'm like, yep. Yeah, we all are. We all ride. We all boat. We all do this. Oh, well, I've been on my boat since I was 5 years old. I bet you don't even know how to ride a motorcycle. And they'll point at me. I'm like, okay.
Years
right.
ago, they
But
had
you
a book.
get
They had a
always,
book for
always,
those
always.
people.
Like, really?
You know the book. Name the book.
Don't know it.
The Guinness Book of World Records.
Oh,
You know that one.
It's the ultimate one.
No, but I mean, they had this dumbest shit in there.
Yeah.
Some of them, like the person who re-threaded the most, re-rolled
the most
20 rolls of toilet
always.
paper
So they-
or something like that. And it's at one point you can say, "Oh, that's not really a fucking thing. You're just a fucking idiot." A big 10 foil ball? Come on. Or gathering some thread, rolling it.
Ball
Just
of
because
twine.
because you're obsessive compulsive, and you shaved all your belly button lint and made sweaters for your whole family.
Yeah,
That's not a world record.
kudos to you. But
It is,
But
because
you know
it's
what?
crazy.
You might have sewn your own sweater, but theirs are better because theirs were made from
Really?
belly button lint from every member of their family.
Yeah, it brings them closer together.
So therefore, you've
the
been
finest, the finest Angora. It's like Angora wool because it was in your belly button. I don't know. I wouldn't know that. But they had all the stupid shit like that. They don't do it anymore. It's smoking the most cigarettes. The fattest baby.
They even have it in the Catholic Church. You ever been around a group of priests?
Oh, the most altar boys.
Oh, how many boys have you got to
Jesus.
He needs to get banned from SNL with Sinead O'Connor. Why don't you just rip up a
when
picture
they
of
did-
Pope John Paul II
I don't.
on camera
I don't think.
Can we just burn them alive? I mean,
Because I think maybe she
Yeah,
might.
you know what's so funny? That's a weird thing for her to get banned from Saturday Night Live for.
It was because she was singing a song with Bob Marley, took over sang a Bob Marley song, and then started singing it about the Catholic priests
Yeah.
and what they did to little boys. And then she held up a picture of Pope John
She
Paul
was
II
kinda
and ripped it up live
Fight
on
the
air.
power, she
I
said.
read it of all the people that were banned. I was like, what?
Well, actually, she was right.
Well, yeah, but they banned her. It
I know.
didn't go over well.
I think
didn't
for
go
them
well.
because they didn't want controversy like that.
I bet
The show
all of
was
those
a-
people that were banned, it started with one, and then they all kept trying to one up the other one. I'm going to get banned for doing something better.
You're
And we were
right.
just
You're right.
one-upping
Well, you
each
know
other.
what? There's an exercise working out. You're one upping yourself. You know, whatever you lift, you try to lift more. You try to do.
Give yourself
I'm
a
more
goal.
results oriented instead of like the results, meaning what your goal is for your fitness level. So I don't get. But planking, the crazy. I saw a girl today. I'm working out. Beautiful young Latin girl. She works at the hospital, and she's planking. And I'm not staring at her butt. Let me say that. Because I'm looking at her head on. She's planking in front of me, and you're just seeing her shoulders. And I go, oh, well, she's planking. It's hard to do that for a minute. It's really hard to do it for a minute. She did it for like 10 minutes.
Kudos to her.
She planked for 10 minutes. I know there's people that do it for 30, 40, 50 minutes. And
It
stuff
was
like that.
still shit.
Yeah, I know, but that was, holy shit.
Core strength is insane.
Core strength, yeah.
Kudos
I
to
know,
her.
but they're just, you get people doing that to ultra marathon, like you had a marathon. 6.2 miles, 26 point, the distance between the two cities in Greece, right? And then they said, well, let's do an ultra marathon. Let's do 50 miles. Someone finished a marathon and they decided to keep on running.
Right.
Or they ran the other way. Or they ran back. That's probably how it started.
Oh,
Someone ran back.
one up your
and
ass.
they finished. They said, fuck you all.
I gotta
I
go
didn't
home.
win. I'm going back. Yeah,
I gotta run
I'm
back.
going back. And then you had, the ultramarathon 50, and then you had the one that they run 24 hours.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
They do all this shit. And then, obviously, Forrest Gump ran across America 3 times or what, something like that.
Yeah. I don't know. Well,
he didn't know anything.
Yeah, he was. He was an imbecile, and he was one-upping people.
Oh, you said that. I didn't say that. Good. I said that about a
He wasn't a smart man.
Well, he's a fictional character,
but
too.
he knows what love is.
So, that was inferiority, superiority complex.
Yeah, superiority is the
martyr complex.
Oh God, the martyrs.
What's wrong? Every fucking thing in the world when they come in, people come in and everything. Oh, how's he doing? Well, Dennis has the rickets. The little one has shin splints. Marty has anal fissures.
Fissures.
I know.
And I have
Fissures.
to help all of them. It's such a chore.
Yeah, I was gonna
if
say.
not for me, I don't know where they would be. There's your martyr.
There's
that's
your
a fucking martyr
I was
right
gonna
there,
say, you
yeah.
have to, once it starts getting about you and all of your self-sacrifice.
all this shit going on.
That's your great. Great.
It's
if your
almost
life
like
is,
they're bringing it in.
Yeah.
It's like you're
sourcing it.
sucking it in.
You're sourcing bad energy. Get away from
It's
it.
almost like Munchausen by proxy.
Oh, I know someone close to me like that.
Oof. Right? I mean, it's martyr stuff because you just want the attention for
Martyr
yourself.
complex, yep.
Right? Like
Yep,
what
like
do
that
you
girl,
do?
that lady in
Gypsy.
Fuck no, that movie, The Sixth Sense.
Oh yeah, the one that was killing her own kid with
killed her kid.
Killed her kid with antifreeze. Antifreeze in her
No,
soup.
it was like Mr. Clean.
Oh, was it Mr. Clean?
Something like that. She was putting in pine soil.
Pine sol. Pine soil.
Whatever, pine sol.
sol.
I don't know. Hey, if I knew.
Yeah.
Might have been, hey, try this drink, Jenna. It's very piney.
Jenna, try this drink.
I tried to save her.
Yeah.
I did everything I could.
Yeah.
It's my
But the martyr
syndrome.
complex, that has to be. Imagine, though, if you think about it, a couple hundred years ago, when the Catholic Church, or 1,000 years ago, when they used martyrdom as a means of establishing sainthood. Yeah. How many people became saints due to martyrdom complex? They said, "What, get to be a martyr and a saint? Sign me to fuck up."
Tie me up to that.
Yeah.
tire.
Oh my God. Is that a fucking lion over there? Come eat me.
My name's will go down the history books.
Yes, you're gonna slaughter us. Or Japan, when they slaughter all when missionaries, fucking missionaries, they sneak into North Korea with their Bible, and then they get arrested, and then they cry. Now, once you've snuck into North Korea with a Bible, a bag of Bibles, and we got to do a little research. I'd love to see if they were fucking English Bibles, or they better be fucking Korean Bibles.
I'm pretty sure
that would be
Korean.
Oh my God, that'd be so fucking funny if it came in, if they got imprisoned with English language Bibles.
Oops.
I'm sorry, that's a stupid thing to do. If you're going to cry, and you think if you think that's going to help those people over there.
You got caught doing what
No,
you
but you're going to
felt-
help those people. What's going to help them if you sneak them over into China and get them to South Korea? Not sneaking a Bible so they get put into a prison camp. So that's the martyrdom complex. Okay, I got the what's it? Oh Christ, I got this one. It's the Cassandra complex.
What's that?
That's a weird one. That's kind of artificial. It's people that think they know what's going to happen, that predict the future. Cassandra was the daughter of
Confucius?
Helena Troy and of Priam, the king of Troy. And I think Cassandra, Priam, she was the daughter, and she predicted the downfall of Troy, but no one listened to her. Because she knew it was going to happen. But she's trying to explain what's happened is that the Greek armies are going to come here, and then it's going to be Achilles, but he's going to get killed, and then Hector's going to be killed, and then they're going to sack Troy, and they say, shut the fuck up, and lo and behold. And they used it. But I think it actually works for people like when you see someone getting married, you see this like, you see a girl getting married and the guy, maybe he's a heroin addict or a thief or he's abusive and you go, oh, well, fucking this isn't going to end well. And they know and go, I know the guy. He's not the kind of fucking dude you want to get married to. And she goes, no, I know. He loves me. He's going to change and stuff. That's when you know something's going to happen or with almost anything where you see like this with the water.
Back to religion.
So
growing up in the evangelical society, you had these people that would proselytize, and they would get, quote, the prophetic word. Yeah. And they'd have a vision, and they would say what was going to happen, or what basically they were telling the future. Like
foreshadowing,
like Nostradamus.
Nostradamus.
Yeah,
he had a big nose.
Yes, Nostradamus.
But they loved to hear themselves speak, and there was no mechanism to come back and do follow-up. Like, hey, how did that work out for you? No one ever challenged them, so they would ride this wave of, and within that community, they were regarded highly, like, oh, she has the spirit of prophecy. No, she's full of shit, and she likes to hear herself talk, or he likes to hear himself talk. Who's doing the research down the road to see if any of this shit's true?
Are you talking about Trump right now?
I may as well be talking about Trump.
How about no?
No, but
I did do the research. By the way, the Bibles delivered to North Korea were translated into the North Korean language, and they are doing
Korean language. Is saying
North Korean. I'm guessing
Korean. It's Korean.
Well,
Korean.
it said North Korean. I'm not sure. If
I don't think Kim Il-sung. I don't think they created.
Korean.
Is
Same language,
is there not a dialect difference between the North
there
and
may
the
be
South?
a dialect, but it's Korean.
Why?
It's
But then
Korean.
there's
It's all
High
the
German
same.
and Low German. I mean, I wonder if it's similar, right?
You need to introduce me to some Low Germans.
No, Korea was prior. Jenna, Korea was unified, so they had a unified language. But the German language was because it was only in 1870s. We had this discussion, 1870, that they were unified. So there was a whole bunch of different principalities and kingdoms in Germany. So you can understand what the language is. But Korea was its own country for hundreds and hundreds of years. So their language was the same.
Right. So, well, I'm sure that they do have a different dialect and different slang. I mean, it's just like, the
Cuban, Spanish, and regular, but their language is written. It's written.
Or, the Northern Americans versus Southern Americans.
What complex is that?
What's that?
You have to be right all the time.
Me? No, I was just saying like the comparison, like, cause even with like American English, the people that are in the North speak a lot differently than the people that are from like the East Coast and the people that are from the South.
The written language is pretty much the same.
Right. Well, yeah, absolutely.
Written language is, yikes.
But I don't fix into
cornhole. That's the only thing. Like up north, talking about cornhole. You're going to play a little cornhole. That means you're going to get hit up the cornhole. Down here, you play cornhole. You got a bag of corn. You're going to throw it through a hole in a board. That's the only difference. I think that's a major difference in there. I always thought that. I told you about that. When I went to a wedding in Georgia, and prior to it, I was at a rehearsal dinner, and they said, "You want to play a little cornhole?" I said, "Fuck, man! I knew this was going to happen when I came into it." Kids just came in like, I was fucking here for 30 minutes and you're going to talk about, no, it's a game. I never fucking heard it in a game. I swear to God, never heard of corn. Didn't know they had tournaments.
I
and
actually
shit like
just thought
that.
it was like a beanbag game. I didn't realize.
Beanbag
It is a
toss.
beanbag game.
Right. But I mean, I never realized that it was called cornhole until I moved.
What do you call it? You call
As
it
far as
beanbag toss?
Yeah. Beanbag
Well,
toss.
beanbag, when you talk about beanbag,
It would be
my beanbagger is my nutsack. So
this is what
all that
happens when
beanbag.
you've been failing.
Beanbag, no, we didn't have beanbag. In Phil, there was no beanbag. It was horseshoes up north.
Well, you still have horseshoes.
Yeah, I know, but horseshoes. There wasn't I've never seen thing up north where they played cornhole. It wasn't
like
one
a
of those things.
beanbag with the top.
It was horseshoes. It was horseshoe. It was darts.
Beanbag shoes.
shooting.
Prior to cornhole, beanbag was just a beanbag that you'd put in your living room and sit on.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, but like.
Or if
beanbag
you got
tops.
kicked in the beanbags.
Yeah, I mean, but no,
In the
cornhole
beanbag.
just came out probably 3 years ago.
Oh, really? No. Because in Georgia, I went to a wedding 12 years ago.
Cornhole.
That's where we're playing. Yeah.
Cornhole been around a long time.
Yeah, cornhole was
Long time.
It was local. It was local. It was a regional. It was really regional.
Well, it just made it down here over the past probably 5 years.
No, so it isn't. It isn't something. So when I came down and he asked me that, I thought, we always say, watch out for your cornhole. That's the thing you always say, if you're going to get.
It's like Beavis and Butthead, cornholio.
Yeah, cornholio.
No, you'd refer as a sexual act, to get cornholed.
cornholed.
Yeah. It was never
Why
good.
did it call it
Because there was a
cornhole?
corn cob.
Up your ass.
Why?
Corn cob use
It's a
exhausted
phallus.
corn cob
Oh.
as toilet paper. You wipe your ass with it. Perfect cliche for it.
You would wipe your ass with a corn cob?
Yeah. Corn
some people-
cob.
corn cob.
Corn husks.
Corn husk.
Oh, that's why it's a cornhole? It's not because, your body doesn't really
Your
digest
corn
corn.
shoots
and
out of your
if you-
a-hole
if you
sometimes.
poop it,
Corn.
It's a cornhole.
Even though you chewed it in little tiny pieces and it still comes out as a whole piece of corn?
It's the only thing I hold on to that I believe that there might be a God, because after chewing all that corn, it gets reassembled.
That's what I'm talking
and comes out your poop.
No, it's a hard cellulose on the outside of the kernel. Staying intact. It's very hard to break down. That's the only reason.
So the next test is to blend it and eat it.
Cream
Yeah,
corn.
it's creamed corn. Creamed
No,
corn.
the
No, you
skin,
have
the
to do
skin's still going to come out.
And then
But
it fills back
we don't
up with
need to
corn.
talk about the consistency
Fills
of
back
it.
up with corn before you poop it
Yeah.
out.
If you lube your corn before you eat it,
But that'd be, but that's always the experiment to see how long it takes your digestive system to work. You just, one day you eat a bunch of food and all that stuff, and you
eat some
wait.
corn.
At one meal, you eat that corn,
as
you
that
time
corn
it.
don't come out my pee hole, I'm good.
Yeah.
And it's time to worry.
A bunch of corn. I had
Doctor.
that corn. The Georgia thing, like we said, deliverance thing. All the stuff we learned about happened. It was something about corn or moonshine was going on. And
Moonshine?
There'd be a toothless lady around.
And a banjo.
Banjo, yeah. And at the end, Ned Beatty had just been raped. And he's ready to put his whole, no pun intended, the whole incident behind him. And he and John Voight are sitting at the table at the B&B, bed and breakfast, kind of, it's not a really bed and breakfast, but it's a lady's house. And they're eating dinner with a bunch of locals. Yeah. And he's just chewing on the corn and all that stuff. John Voight's, they're all traumatized. And he goes, wow, this corn, and they're all from the South, but these people are from the deep South. And, outside of Atlanta or wherever they're from, eating the corn. He goes, this corn's real special. And he goes, grew it myself, the toothless lady said. And I have to say, that cucumber was 14 inches long with the teeth giving up. And every time my brother-in-law and I be up in upstate Pennsylvania, we do that at one of our family reunions, and they'd never get it. They'd never get it. And they'd look at it and go, I look at him and I'd say, and I said this on the podcast previously, this past year, I'd look at him and say, hey, Mark, this corn's special. And he goes, 14 inches long. That's it. I guess people will look at us. Stuff like that. Because we were uncomfortable. He was just moments away from being taken by one of their Jeeps and taken out. They will always want to go deer spotting at night. Not this time of year, back in August. They go, you want to go out? And go, where are we going to go? To a bar? No. They take a flashlight. They take a spotlight. And they drive around the countryside. And they look for deer. But they don't hunt them. They just look for them.
What's the point?
Yeah, know where
I'm going to get that one. I'm going to shoot that one.
They have legs.
Well, you know where they.
Yeah, it's like they're going to be there.
move.
Yeah, that's exactly right. They're not going to be there.
No, but you know where they root. You know their path. They kind of.
I don't think they're allowed to shoot them. I don't think they're allowed to shoot them on a. No, I don't think they're allowed to shoot them on these properties that we're looking at. It's people's land.
Yeah, but if you're hungry.
These people weren't hungry. They were just out. It's their hunting.
It's road.
They ain't hungry. They got lots of
It
cucumbers.
was their
to eat.
hunting
They
porn.
got lots of cucumbers. Is that what you
They
said?
got lots of cucumbers.
Yeah, it was
to
their
eat.
hunting porn. That's it.
Oh.
Okay. Well, listen, that's enough silliness on this about the. I couldn't believe that went on for 23 minutes.
He's obsessing. It's part of his obsessive compulsive disorder.
Yep.
I didn't touch upon that, but yeah, 23 fucking minutes. I thought it was like 5 minutes. I said, hey, enough of that. We're going to be done. I said, wow, we went to rehash the whole show.
Maybe it's the caffeine.
It could be.
Yeah, it could have something to do with it. Maybe the caffeine makes him squirrel a little bit. Just squirrel.
I stayed on topic. What are you talking about? I stayed on topic 23 minutes and shit like that. We expanded.
That's why.
And then he went squirrel.
Yeah.
23 minutes. Pause.
I didn't go squirrel. There was no squirrel. Okay, say goodbye, everyone.
Hi, everyone.
Goodbye.
Bye, everyone.
Wait, we were going to play Dr. Tom's Laugh.
Oh, hell yeah. Do it.
Tell a joke.
After
Tell a
23
joke.
minutes.
Yeah. What? Say something. What, 22 minutes? Well, I know, but I wanted to say. Okay.
I have a good
Yeah,
joke.
let's hear it.
All right, so monkey walks into a bar.
Yeah.
He says to the bartender, I want to know if you have any bananas. The bartender said, I don't have any bananas. You have to get out of here. He asked the bartender again, well, I want to know if you have any bananas. He goes, I already told you I don't serve bananas in the bar. The monkey goes, well, I'm only here because I heard you have bananas. And he goes, listen, you ask me for bananas one more time, I'm going to nail your tongue to the wall. The monkey says, do you have any nails? He goes, no. He goes, well, then can I have some bananas?
All right. That's the end of the show. Thank you.